Chaos equals what?
Money. You could be losing or making.
That's right. And I've been on the losing side plenty of times.
One thing that we've taken very serious is what is our visual appearance? Your brand doesn't have to be complicated. Having the consistency of the brand over a large variety of products will imprint on a lot of your customers' brand. People associate names and brands with the level of service that they're getting. And the more consistent you are with that over a long period of time, it just imprints on people. Welcome to Chasing Millions. I'm Josh.
And you know who I am.
Who?
I'm Eric.
So let's talk about brand identity, right? Let's talk about why you got in business.
Yeah.
And then what kind of is behind that brand that you're wanting to build, what the reason why you got into business.
Yeah. And to give you guys a little idea, right, is that we have been in business about 5 years. If you haven't seen any of our podcasts, and if you're just watching now, then now is a perfect time.
Well, we've been in business for this one business for 5 years. We've been in business for over a decade, right? And multiple different service companies.
Yes.
So we've tried a lot of different bullshit.
Yeah. We've screwed some shit up. Let's just get that straight. We'll get that across, right?
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, building your brand identity is a pretty big thing. So we felt it was obligatory to talk about it and some of our experiences and what we had did. So,
but why do you build a brand? Let's talk about that. Let's go down to the granular level.
Perfect. Well, tell me.
Yeah. So think about things that you use each and every day.
Uh-huh.
Those things got invented because it usually pissed somebody off, or somebody wasn't given the service in the territory that they wanted.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Or the quality of product was not there.
Yep.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's a shirt or a pair of pants or a type of food, whatever it may be. People see there's a lack of products or services being offered in that marketplace, and they say, hey, I'm mad because I can't get it. Let's start something and let's offer that in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what you and I did.
I 100% agree with that.
So that was our brand, and let's go to the, what defined the brand that you built and I built.
I say we start with the value proposition.
Okay, well, we can do that. What is the value of the brand that you're offering, right? The name is irrelevant, in my opinion.
The name is irrelevant, right? And sure, there's going to be some strategy, I would say, to your logo and the colors and some of these other funny things that we read about.
You can name a brand after your name. A lot of car dealerships do that all the time.
Like, how did they come up with the name Uber? Like, where does that come from? But
I don't know.
I don't either. I don't have it either. But back to this. So, the first thing or topic I want to talk about is value proposition. And I'll give you a personal example until we get kind of talking about value proposition so we have a company called On Call Services and Rentals. And what is our value proposition? So we got into this market and we were like, you know what? We deal with, and I was in the construction field and the safety, right? And you were in a couple different kinds of fields, right? Oil field and all kinds of different ones. But, what we did not see was these nuisance items that we are currently in, which I'll talk about here in a second. We saw individual companies providing rental and services for these individual items, right? And I and you felt that we could take our starting point and add verticals into there and do it in a method in which we're going to provide a very exceptional service to these customers and be able to do all four things that usually only one or two max people are doing.
Yeah. So example, in our industry, when you go into events, industrial construction, residential construction, or just permanent sets is what we call them. Things are going to be out there forever. You'd have to call one company for a portable restroom. You'd have to call another company for temporary fencing. You'd have to call another company for office and storage containers. You'd have to call another company for dumpsters. Mm-hmm. So we're usually those are your afterthought items on the construction. Because if you ever built anything or you're on a construction site, you're thinking about the thing being built.
That's right.
You're not thinking about all the services that you have to have for the employees on site, for your
trash,
GC,
for your office spaces.
Yeah. So that's man, let's consolidate all that where they can get all these nuisance items to Eric, as he said earlier, on one job site with one phone call, and most of the time,
and provide the same level of service or better. In our case, we try to make it 10x better.
Simplified invoicing.
Simplified invoices, but what getting at is, there's a level of service that you get when you have one single thing that you're dealing with, right? If you're dealing with a dumpster company, they should be pretty damn good if that's all they're doing is dumpsters.
But let's think about other business lines that we are not in, but we use.
Okay.
Right? Value proposition of Amazon. You can click a button, order it on your phone in 2 seconds. It's going to be there probably the next day. Sometimes the day of.
And I guarantee you that there's at least 3 or 4 charges from Amazon today.
Oh, yeah. I get Amazon
my
package. I know that guy. We give him gifts for Christmas because we know him.
Jeff Bezos, he has to know.
Let's think about hunting. For you watching, what's the value proposition? I hunt all over the world. What's the value proposition of buying high-end gear from Sika? You know it's going to be quality product. You're going to be paying a crazy amount of money for it, but when you're out in the middle of nowhere that the zipper is going to work and it's not going to tear apart.
I mean, very, very valid.
You're a duck caller.
Yep.
You don't buy cheap duck calls.
No, I don't.
Value proposition or ordering organic food, right?
Yep.
Your value proposition is going to be healthier for you. So each and every product design and given and service has a value, and that's what makes them sustainable, right? Your position in On Call is the value proposition is we're offering 4 or 5 different services at a very high level, and they can utilize one vendor for those services.
That's correct.
And in any marketplace that we tap into, we offer the same 4 or 5 services.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's right.
So that's the value proposition. When you're starting a new company, you need to figure out why you started the company. It's usually because you're pissed off at something.
You're solving a problem.
You're solving a problem, right? And then figure out what that problem you're solving and then how you can exploit it.
And how are you going to be better than the next guy if you're trying to solve the same problem somebody else is solving? Then you better be better than the next guy.
And that usually goes into our second topic.
Yep.
That's your brand story. Like you came up with this product, this service of what you think is going to be successful in a marketplace, right? Or global, or nationwide, or statewide, whatever it may be. And then you got to figure out is your brand and why you did what you did. Right? And what makes you different from the next guy or the next woman, right?
Yep.
So what is your brand?
So we're On Call. Oh, well, it's On Call Services and Rentals, but we're On Call, right? And that was the theory behind it is, we're in the service business here, and service is everything, right? And I don't know if anybody that is listening has dealt with this. I dealt with it a couple weeks ago, and this is the kind of thing that made me get into what I'm getting into. And that's, my kids were the tub, they get out, and then all of a sudden I start getting some bubbles. The thing won't drain. I didn't even tell you about this. The tub won't drain. Kids don't have a shower to get into now. I'm like, wife's mad, obviously. And I'm like, trying to push it off till later. And she's like, no. So I get to calling the local vendors for plumbing, right? Trying to figure something out. And then can't get a hold of nobody, number one.
Yeah.
And then when I did finally I called 2 or 3, couldn't get a hold of nobody. When I did finally get to somebody, it was outsourced to India somewhere. I could barely understand them. They asked a million questions that were kind of irrelevant to some degree.
You're
right?
pissed off.
And I'm pissed, right? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And that's the kind of reason, and that was the theory behind On Call. We're the one call, we're on call at all times, right? And that's the struggle. And I saw the struggle. Just like you know, I know you've dealt with it. So
no offense to India.
The brand story, no offense, right?
But don't sub out your shit over there unless you want to piss off a lot of people.
It's not fun, right? Nobody likes to not be able to be understood, and you definitely can't understand their back. Nobody likes that. We're not going to get into that. But crafting a brand story it should be natural, really. I mean, it should be kind of part of that value proposition in some degree, but that brand story, and again, ours being on call at all times, right? We are the people that you're going to get the same service from. When you call me, whether it be 1 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're answering that phone. Somebody, it may not be me, it could be me, but it could be a lot of other people, but we're going to answer that phone. We are going to be at your service whenever you call that phone.
And make sure that your brand is equal to your service. Your brand is your service, is your product. When you think of a product, right? When you think of Whole Foods, you think of yeah, it's going to be expensive, but you're supposedly eating healthier, right? When you think of American Airlines, right? You're probably going to be pissed off because your shit's going to be delayed. And you're like, I can't hurry up. I want to fly private.
Yeah. I need to make some more money.
Yeah, because American Airlines lately, you kind of been disappointing, right? And if your plane gets delayed, you know you're going to be on hold forever. So all the things that in our world, in on-call's world, the products and services Ericsson that he focuses on each and every day is we're kind of the afterthought.
Yeah.
So the reason why we named it on call is we have to be on call 24/7 to bail out our customers.
Yep.
Right. When somebody says, "Oh shit, I forgot to order the toilet," or "Oh crap, man, we're getting ready to get broken in. We're not building in the best part of town. We need to secure our job site." They're not thinking of that right now.
No.
Right?
Yeah. There's so many calls that we get where, people, once you have that and you do that and we're known for that, then that's who they call in those times. Like I can't tell you how many times where City Line main breaks or Walmart doesn't have any toilets because all the
or it's a
the line.
pre-construction deal, and they call you after the thought, right? And then they're like, "I need it now," and most companies are 2-3 weeks out, and we can get it within 24 hours. But with that, you have to set up your systems to match your brand.
Yeah, and we actually had a podcast that had this talked about this. I don't remember the name, but we talked about how important that is, right? And and how much you're missing out if you don't set your business up to be able to work 24/7 and capture those emergency services. Because
And
as I always say, chaos equals what?
Money.
Chaos
And
equals
you can
cash.
be on, depending on what side you're on that, you can be losing or making.
That's right, and I've been on the losing side plenty of times. Specifically, the time I was talking about earlier.
When you don't have your systems put in place and it creates chaos on our side, and when you have to overpay to get the customer taken care of, or the customer doesn't have their shit together, and you're able to charge an after hours fee and a late fee, and you have to charge those things, folks, because in our case, we pay people more to work at night. We pay people to be on call. There's things that we pay for to be able to supply those companies that may have overlooked something and provide that same high level of service. And it comes with a premium. But at the end of the day, a lot of people that accept the fee is they need the service now.
Yep. And I've been on that side too. So I agree. And it's nice to have people that can answer the phone and they can provide. And you already know when you're calling it Saturday at 8 a.m. in the morning that you're probably going to pay a little bit more. Right?
Yeah, but it's no different if your HVAC goes out, or your plumbing goes out, and you got a bunch of people over for a holiday, and your toilet's not working. You don't really care what the price is.
Nope. You just want to get that
it's going
fixed
to be a
right
premium.
now.
But we're always fair with our customers, and they know that, and we treat everybody the same at the end of the day. So let's go over where you're in the rental business, so you have a lot of equipment, thousands of pieces of equipment scattered out all over the states, and one thing that we've taken very serious is what is our visual appearance? And that
you are the biggest.
I'm a freak
you are
on
the
this
freak
because
of visual appearance.
I want my logo on everything. I want our logo to be clean. I want it to be visible. I want it to be easy to read. But on the other hand, what are some things that you've podcast or if you watch the news, things that you heard in the past? I'll give you an example. Christmas. It seems like the last 3 to 5 years, they've always made a big deal of the logo on the Starbucks Christmas cup, right? So visuals are a big thing. It seems like bigger the company gets, the more simplified their logo gets. Walmart, it's just Walmart. Target, it says Target with a little logo on it, right? In our case, we don't really have we have an
O,
but we don't have a figure.
We have an O.
Huh?
We have that name O on the on-call
O, the weirdo, that's kind of our branding strategy, but it's just simple and crisp. It's easy to read if you're driving down the road.
Yep.
And it matches our type of service that we're offering, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, and I think the visual identity is there is a lot to it, right? And you can get into some things, but a couple of things that I had note was we like to use bright colors. We like to put our employees in our apparel. So if we're servicing your stuff, our people are in our on-call uniforms, right? They know that if we're going to be out there, we're going to deliver on time. The guy's going to say, have on-call on it. So you're not going to know, you're going to know exactly who that guy is, who he works for, right? And there's another couple of things, right? The size of the logo. We like to put things so that you can read it from a little bit of afar, because you may be driving down the highway and see one of our containers, and we want you to see that logo on the side.
Heck yeah.
So, there is a lot to it, right? But the visual of the logo it is a big thing, and your visual identity equally is big. And you need to be able to be pushing some of these things, like branding through social media. And we'll get to some of these here in a minute, but you got to be pushing that brand out everywhere that you go. Your employees, your invoices, the apparel that you wear, your hats, the pins, when your sales guys go to the customers, they better be leaving some stuff that has the on-call logo on it, whether it be a notepad and a pen or a shirt or a koozie, or heck, I even have one guy, his logo, and he gave me I don't know if you ever seen these, but it's a koozie, but it's a fishing deal, a fishing line.
Yeah, I've seen that. Firefighter did that here locally.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff, right?
But your brand doesn't have to be complicated. The more I've been diving into brands, right, is it doesn't have to be complicated. Right, but you can associate it. I go back to Target. Target, when you think of the bullseye, you think of Target, right? And you associate it. It's one step better than what? Walmart, right? And women love it. So
that's a fact. That's a fact,
right? Amazon has its own little, what is it? It's the brown little box or whatever it is. You know what I mean? There's thousands of logos that are imprinted in our brain, and having the consistency of the brand over a large variety of products will imprint on a lot of your customers' brand. Ours is red. We've acquired a lot of companies, and they've had different, styles and colors of, assets. But at the end of the day, our logo is red, and it says on call, and it has a special O on it, right? And that's what you're going to get. So people associate names and brands with the level of service that they're getting. And the more consistent you are with that over a long period of time, it just imprints on people.
Yep.
And being in the billboard business, right, and talking to a lot of high-level advertisers that just like dork out from the psychology of colors and shapes and sizes. I mean, they can tell
traffic counts, and
they can tell you all kinds of crazy things that I didn't even know about. And it made me really, really, really think of like how important it is to have a good brand and be consistent about it, and how that imprints on people. When people think of on call, when I think of on call, I think of red, right? I think our business logo is red. I think of the O, right? Yep. And then when I think of on call, I think of like, man, their service is great. Their products are clean.
Yeah,
they're going to answer the phone. That's the unique value proposition.
Yeah, and speaking of billboards, that brings me to the next thing, which is really advertising and digital advertising, and any kind of leveraging of advertising in branding all kind of ties in together. And, I can probably go on for a long time talking about branding and when it comes to
really
digital.
Good at it. Like you've been in a lot of meetings, you've made a lot of mistakes. You realize how full of shit most of these guys are.
It's so.
Well, being in a small business, I'll give you my experience. I remember my very first guy I signed up with, and it was some large company, and I got ripped off. It was like a 12-month contract, and I thought these guys were going to solve all my problems, and my phone was going to be ringing off the wall. My website was going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And they knew exactly what I did and knew exactly what my mission was. But guess what? I didn't convey any of that to them. And nothing turned out the way it wanted to be. And my phone didn't ring off the wall. And my messaging on my website wasn't correct. And I got overcharged. So for you watching, Eric has experienced some of those things. I have definitely experienced those things. Don't get discouraged about this, which a lot of small businesses do. They spend a lot of money and they don't have any KPIs or anything set up forth between them and their marketing agency to figure out how effective they are. And you've learned that the hard way, and you learned that, and you've done a very good job at this point of like staying on top of it and learning that, hey, especially nowadays. I remember starting out way back in the day, there was Facebook. Now you got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What else is there?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. There's thousands of ways that you can reach your customer. Instagram.
So, and to that point, I can't stress enough, we're talking about brand identity here, but to get a strong brand identity, you have to be up on your marketing presence as far as digitally. So you need to be, any kind of ad you're making, whether it be Google or Facebook or your website, or if you have a billboard or whatever it is, you got to have your logos on there, and you got to continue to be marketing in all aspects to pushing out that brand.
With a consistent message.
Exactly. So you have to be doing it not from just your sales guys passing out pins and koozies like we talked about earlier, but you have to hit them from every angle. We always talk about that, right? We have to hit, and if you're listening and you're not doing this, you better be doing it. You better start now, is you got to hit people from every angle. You got to hit them from advertisements, whether maybe it's on TV, or you got to hit them from Google ads, you got to hit them from Facebook ads, and you got to hit them from billboards, and you got to hit them in face to face with your sales guys.
Your product on site.
You have, the logos on the products on site. I mean, we're hitting them from every angle you can imagine, because you have to. And if you do that and you do it correctly, and you have that value proposition, you have that brand story that's in everything, and people understand what you're doing and what you offer and what that service is like. And if you can push that throughout, you are going to be so much further ahead than your competition. So I can't stress enough that.
Well, one thing that you are doing, Eric, you need to, I don't even know if you realize it, but one thing that we continue to talk about is, how do you understand where your best value is put?
That's a very good question.
It's so easy to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and all these different platforms.
Let me give you a quick note. And I'm glad you brought that up. And it's taken me a little while to kind of get it all wrapped around. And I'm not perfect. And by all means, am I saying that I'm better than anybody else? But what I will tell you is that throwing dollars to marketing, and branding is included in that, because you're marketing for something, right? But your brand is part of it. So you're branding, and you're in different areas digitally, Google, Facebook, right? Billboards, what have you. Well, if you haven't figured out how to convert and understand what that dollar figure is truly bringing you, for example, if you're putting $50,000 towards Google marketing, or 500, it's really irrelevant. But if you know that 500 generated you $20,000, that's pretty good return on investment, right? Maybe that's a little unrealistic, but what I'm getting at is that it's important to use digital marketing and digital branding, but capture that information and that data to tell you whether or not the money spent is truly bringing you revenue dollars that supersedes the amount that you're spending. And I think that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, you can break it down, cost per conversion, right?
Exactly.
There's 1,000 ways you can break out this, but this, at the end of the scope, is understand where you're spending your money and understand what's getting your highest rate of return.
100%.
There's 1,000 ways to calculate that, but at the end of the day, that's pretty simple how you do it, right?
It sounds simple, and I will say this because I live it and breathe it. But it sounds simple, but at the end of the day, getting your conversion rates and getting your return on marketing spend is a little more difficult than what it sounds, and it's taken me a little while to kind of get it perfected. So if you're not doing that, you better be starting to look at it and
have fun with it too.
Around it.
Test different things. Put yourself out of the comfort zone. It's getting more and more complicated as the years go on.
Yeah, before algorithms change.
Yeah, before it was like getting yellow pages. And yellow pages are obsolete.
And
right?
make your name an A name, so you're at the top of the yellow pages
list. There's thousands of different, but these guys have already figured that out. And let me tell you something. If you guys watch social media platforms as we do, there's all these industry experts, and let me tell you something. Very few of them are actually industry experts. Most of them are fucking stupid. So, you know what I mean? Like, we've tried 1,000 different industry experts. We've spent hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars at this. I know for a fact I've spent over $1 million, millions of dollars on advertising, from branding.
Yeah.
Well, hell, we were just talking about Baker the other day.
We were almost like, yeah.
If I rebrand all of our dumpsters at $1,000 a dumpster, it costs us $1 million.
Well, I mean,
that's just one product line, right? But point is, have fun with it. Try different things. Put yourself out of the comfort zone. You're probably not going to understand it, but that's anything in the entrepreneur world. You have to dive in. You have to test things. You have to try it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll leave you with this. Brand is a big deal, right? The 5 topics we talked about are a big deal. So
what we forgot about one is the customer service aspect of it. Right?
Well, we did. We talked about it.
If you spend Well, let's go back on it real quick. If you have a great visual aspect with your big, beautiful phone number sitting on the side of everything like you do, right? Many others do. And then you create this unique value proposition, right? And people understand that what you do in the marketplace. And you create this, you push that in multiple different channels, from websites to emails to text messages to social media platforms, right? To your website. Google Maps. I'm always up your ass on that, right? Why aren't we popping up?
The GMBs.
GMBs, as Eric's like, oh, GMB and I'm like, fuck GMB. I need to pop up when I fucking type in fence. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, what I'm getting to is it all boils down to the level of customer service that they're going to get when they do decide to act.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the first interaction is the most important. If they feel like you care, you answer the phone.
It's like the first impression, right?
Yeah, it's the first impression for a new customer, and the new customers are just as important as your existing ones, So have great customer service. Set up your systems to be able to handle. Don't go spend $100,000 on this humongous advertising deal that you're going to spend in 1 month and have one person answer the phone and the ball gets dropped.
Yeah.
Like, set up systems to be able to handle the flow of spend that you're trying to get.
Yep.
So I feel like overall we've done a pretty good job on that. There's always room for improvement, obviously, but
yeah, I mean,
branding's everything, in my opinion. The customer service is part of the brand, right?
Yep, I agree with that.
People associate brands with level of service, right? If you think about Mahogany's, it's a different steak than it is at Outback, right? When I think about Texas Roadhouse, I think consistency of product, and the rolls are great. My kids are going to eat 5,000 of them, and I don't know how they make money. And I'm probably going to have 4 or 5 of them myself. The butter's bomb.
4 or 5? Come on, bro.
That's true.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what I really want you guys to focus in on is, branding. We could talk about all these different topics, but on Chasing Millions, when we're chasing, right, we're experiencing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Right? We're chasing it, meaning we're not going to make every right move, but the things that you're going to get on the with Josh and Eric is things that we have tried.
Yeah. You're going to get the successes, right? And you're going to get the failures.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
You're getting the bad and the ugly. We've said that a million times.
I mean, today, let's talk about something crazy in business. Let's get off topic real quick.
All right. I know where you're going with it.
I know. We've had many of episodes and talk about experiences and things that, as a business owner, you have to overcome. I mean, today was a pretty tough day. We had a guy that's been with us. He's a lower level, one of our employees at a lower level, but at the end of the day, they're all important, just as important.
And we had a personal
relationship because this guy's been with us pretty much 3.5 years.
I get invited to his wedding that was in like 2 or 3 weeks, and we had to.
Are you still invited?
Probably, but the chances of me showing up are probably slim to none at this point. But
so the guy ended up making a bet. He had a character flaw, and he ended up stealing some money from us. And he stole it by stealing fuel. And unfortunate situation. We had a lot of long term. But you're going to go long term employee go from stealing fuel. Caught him on video cameras because we have systems put in place. And luckily for us, he admitted it. We already had all the evidence proven. But here's the deal: as you grow, you're going to have things pop up in your business that you don't want to go through. That was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
We have all different types of them, though, that are going on now. We have
the Steak Bandit.
Steak Bandit. We almost have them named. We almost should give them trophies. We have a trophy wall of people have stolen, cheated, lied, trying to start companies with our customers.
We didn't need a whole other
you had another one this week that we bought a company and it was supposed to come with this customer or this big high-end operator, and the next thing you know, he goes one of our competitors.
Let me tell you the story, and then
let's not go in detail because that's a whole nother episode.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
At the end of the day, the experience of entrepreneurship is you just have to be willing to fight every day, all day, and uphold. Customers they don't care what you're going through, right?
No, they don't give a crap what you're going through.
They don't even need to know.
They just want you to do what they ask you to do when they want you to do it.
And that's the brand.
Yep, and that's the brand.
And you have to figure out as an entrepreneur to perform.
That's right.
Right? So that's the end of the day. You're going to go through a lot of shit. There's going to be a lot of problems. There's going to be a lot of high fives. But at the end of the day, you have to provide. The customers don't care.
Yep.
You have to provide the level of service, high level of service, quality product, no matter what circumstance you're going through on the back end. And they don't want you to answer the phone of my truck broke down, I can't service you today.
No.
We'll be there in 15 minutes with your dumpster. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
Perfect. They don't care about your excuses. You know what I mean? So that's your brand. That's your visual. That's your reputation. That's everything, right? So have fun with it.
Yep.
Entrepreneurship world is wild.
It's a lot, but I will say that if you, it's very hard, especially probably for the first 3 to 5 years, depending on how you scale and run your own business. But there's more good than there is bad, right? And like you always say, I'm like Teflon tape now, right? After years and years of abuse and lies and deceits and people that you've been with you for a long time, and you gotta cut ties in 1 second because of things that they've done that you just are unacceptable. And at the end of the day, I'll tell you this is that what you can get from us on these podcasts that we bring you is real life scenarios, is what we've been going through. And as Josh always says, we're chasing millions. We have some, but we don't have enough, right? So we're sharing our experiences, and we hope you learn from it. We hope you like these podcasts. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you.
Share.
Please share too.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
And if you have
share
any
with your
comments,
friends.
we want to know the experiences you've gone through as an entrepreneur, or questions you may have trying to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
because hey, look, I'm a question asking.
You're a question master, is what
Right,
I call
I
you.
ask 1,000 questions because I want to know every angle how I can fail. So ask. We'll be open and honest with you. We'll respond as honest as we can if we have industry experience or we went through that situation.
Yep.
So
Thanks
talk
for
to you later.
watching.